And a lot of people think that just by having like fancy clothes or just talking about their achievements, about their accomplishments in life, that they think they will be seen as an interesting person. But if we are being honest with ourselves, and if we ask other people if they think we are interesting, they will likely say no, you are not an interesting person. Just because you accomplish so many things and you have so much clothes, so beautiful clothes, so expensive clothes, doesn't mean that you are an interesting person. That's why today's video I'm going to talk about how to become an interesting person towards others. What do you need actually to do to become an interesting person? This video is being inspired by the book Just Listen from Mark Goldstein, where he talks about how getting through to a lot of people, and one of the topics he talks about in his book is how to master the skill of being interesting. And I really love how he described it, and I think would be amazing if I share the knowledge I learned from this book with you guys. So let's get started. But before we start, don't forget to hit that little subscribe button below for some positive vibes, because I post every single Monday, every single week, so you can have each week a fresh, energetic, positive start. So the first step is actually to change your perspective of a conversation. What I mean by that, instead of seeing a conversation as a ping pong match or a tennis game where you say something and then the other person says something and goes back and forth, try to see it as an adventure where you are exploring their lives and asking questions about everything, or maybe as a detective, which is exploring and questioning the other person about their lives and everything to get to know everything about them. It's really important to try to learn as much as possible from the other person. If you want to start to become more interesting, you have to start to look more at them. Instead of talking about your needs, about your stuff, about how great you look and the stuff you wear, the brands you wear, start asking more about them and start listening and put the focus more on them, and that will make you be more an interesting person. Plus, people love to talk about them and about their problems. Believe when you're in a conversation with someone that person has a story to tell, because I firmly believe that every person has a story to tell and has a lesson or a message which could help me to grow and learn as a person. So that's why I really enjoy asking questions and always put the focus on the other person, because it's very interesting to learn a lot about another person, because I really believe that everybody has their own story and message they can share with you. And the second step is to be interested in starting asking questions. This is very important, guys. If you want to start looking interesting, you have to be interested in them and interested in the other person and start asking questions about them. I encourage you really to be curious about their lives. And when you are starting to ask them questions, don't just ask random questions. Try to ask questions about the topic they're talking about you. And when you're being curious about it, try to show it with your eyes and with your body language. Like, really? Wow, tell me more about this. You know what I mean? Try to ask more questions about stuff you really want to know. If you just try to ask questions sake of the purpose to look interesting, a person will see that. A person will feel when someone is interested or not. So ask questions about stuff you really feel like interested, really are interested about to learn more about the other person. Maybe it is a job, or how they got the job, and what are the skills they have, or the advice they can give you. No matter what it is, ask really questions you want to know about them more. When you ask questions and you are listening to them, make them feel that they are non-judgmental. If you want really to ask more deep questions, try to create a safe environment, an energy which is safe for them and non-judgmental, because then they will feel more open to tell you about them, and it will be easier for you to ask them questions. Maybe a lot of you guys are thinking, what should I ask? You know, what should I ask? Ask questions that takes you from the realistic point of view and goes more into the dream world. For example, you can ask them, if you had one wish, what would you change, or what would be different, or what would be that wish be? And if, or for example, another one is, if your life would be perfect, what would be different? And if you could go back and give your younger self an advice, what would be that advice? And every time they tell you the reasons what they would do or something, ask them always why. Try really to examine and be the detective and just try to understand why they don't come up with assumptions and say, oh, they say that because they really want the fancy car, they want money, so they really want the fancy car. No, try to understand really what is the reason why they want money. And believe me, you will be surprised the answer you will get and the reasons why they want certain things in life. Plus, also something which you can do is ask them for advice. Because when people give you advice, they will feel wise and also feel like they're an interesting person. And the moment they feel that they're giving you advice and they feel like, whoa, they're mattering and they're changing a life and maybe helping you out with a problem in this current situation, they will feel better, they will feel wiser, and they will feel also that they are an interesting person. And that will also make that they will feel like you are interesting too. What do you do if they ask you, why are you asking me so many questions? Well, guys, this is so easy. If they ask you, why are you asking me so many questions? Just be honest, really. That's the tip I want you to give yourself. Be honest about it. Other people ask me that question because I like to ask tons of questions. I like to know everything about the other person because I feel that's very interesting to see what happened in your life so you became the person you are today. And that's really interesting. And when somebody asks me why you ask so many questions, I always say I find it very interesting that you could take two people and those two people are doing the same job, but how they went there and what they needed to do to come to that place to have that same job was totally different. The ways, the roads were totally different, and the decision they took were totally different. And that's very interesting, and that is what I tell them exactly. Well, I'm interested in learning about people and learning more. Maybe there is some stuff which I can learn more about you, and I will make them immediately in that moment feel like they matter if you tell them that you ask so many questions because you believe they have something to offer. They will feel important and also wise, and that will also make you seem more interesting. To really recap everything, and the magic formula is that if you really want to start to look and be an interesting person and master the skill to become an interesting person, you have first to be interested in them. And don't be afraid, guys. Really, don't be afraid that then they will just talk about them and just be about them. The more you become interesting to them, then there will be a point in the conversation then where they will tell you, what about you? And when you hit that point, when they ask you what about you, then you know you are an interesting person to them. And today's question I have for you guys is, do you enjoy more talking about yourself, or are you more the kind of the person who likes to ask questions and to listen to other people's stories? Leave me in the comment section below. I really would love to hear what type of person you are. And moreover, if you want to know what type of person I am, just go check in the comment section below because I will also leave my answer to this question. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like this video, hit that little subscribe button below for some positive vibes because I post every single Monday, every single week. And don't forget to go after your life's adventure and celebrate each step of it. Bye! Also, there is one quote in this book, and just listen, I really love and enjoy. And the quote is that the measures of self-assurance is how deeply and sincerely interested you are in others, and the measure of insecurity is how much you try to impress them with you. This is my favorite quote about the book when he talks about the book. Leave in the comment section below if you would like me to do some book reviews about self-help books, or maybe about this amazing book. Just listen. Just leave it in the comment section below. So see you next week on Monday. Bye.